Go west, young man, to a land defined by fortune, settled by gold miners, sustained by visionaries, and idolized by millions. For over 150 years, California has been a beacon for the American dream. Now, it's a major jewel in the world's toughest sport. Up its breathtaking peaks, through its lush valleys, and along its Pacific shores, an international pulse of cycling energy will electrify the state known for its California cool.
Yes, there he goes. Third when he says Leipheimer was on fire.
The fastest men on two wheels: Cavendish, Bonin, Cancellara, Leipheimer, Armstrong. An all-star cast in a cycling epic, spilling down from the north, pouring across the state, and wrapping up on Southern California's most fabled streets. It's an 8-day, high-speed treasure hunt. The strongest men in the world have come west, seeking a golden fleece. It's America's greatest cycling event. This is the Amgen Tour of California preview show, presented by Nissan on Versus. Only 5 years old, the Amgen Tour of California is already one of cycling's premier events. A combination of good roads, sunshine, hard riding, and passionate fans attracts the world's best riders.
The crowds are awesome in Tour of California, and the energy, because they're mainly supporting the American riders. It's great and special to be part of that.
We've always needed a domestic national tour in order to, again, use that as a building block for young athletes. It's a great place for the fans to get close to the athletes, and it's a fun place for the riders to get close to the fans.
Begun in 2006, the Amgen Tour of California had a heavy American influence from the start. 8 out of 10 riders in the inaugural top 10 came from the United States. While the ranks in Peloton have become increasingly international, the man that's dominated the leaderboard is still a California resident. Levi Leipheimer has won the yellow jersey an impressive 3 consecutive times. But defending his title will be an uphill task.
The competition gets stiffer every year. I mean, the Tour of California becomes more prestigious. Everyone's taking it more and more serious as the years go on.
One big reason cyclists are putting greater focus on the Amgen Tour of California is when it happens. Previously an early season affair, the start date now lands in May. A move away from the unpredictability of February weather, and one giant step towards cycling's biggest show.
We're bringing basically our tour team to the Tour of California. It's a very important part of our major preparation. Is Andy going to be more competitive now than he was in February? I would bet he would be. He's coming off the Classics, so he's going to have a rest, and then Tour of California, that's where it's time to get serious. And it's a very, very pivotal race for our team this year.
I think it's great. For me, it's perfect, I would say, because it fits in just where I needed to race. I want to take a break after the Classics, and then I want to start training again and start up with the Tour of California. I go there to kind of build up for the Tour.
Last year's Tour de France runner-up is not the only Grand Tour cyclist getting a leg testing spin in California. After a stomach virus derailed Lance Armstrong's racing schedule this spring, a good performance in May should help his mindset for July.
The Tour of California is totally different this year than last year, just by virtue of its place on the calendar. The weather will be different. Obviously, the course is slightly different. The competition will be different, but also in different phases of their season as well. But nonetheless, it's the second biggest race of the year for us.
In addition to the new date, the Amgen Tour of California has a new look, one that provides a decidedly better view. With the addition of its first mountaintop finish at Big Bear Lake, the tour will challenge the riders' climbing form, as it never has before.
Well, the 2010 Tour of California is a really intriguing race to me. For the first year ever, there's a mountaintop finish in Big Bear. And, you know, I used to race mountain bikes in Big Bear. In fact, one of my first victories was in Big Bear as a mountain bike racer. So I'm really excited to go back to that venue and and to finish one of the biggest stage races in the world up there will be awesome. You know, I'm super motivated. I think that that's a good climb for me. It's not real gradual. It's quite steep. It's pretty consistent, and then at the top it's got high altitude, so it's a exciting climb for sure.
Downtown LA is the new site of the penultimate day's time trial. A double loop around some of the city's most recognizable landmarks promises a fan-friendly event, one that should go a long way in sorting out the leaderboard.
The time trial Tour of California is going to be awesome this year. Having it downtown LA. Anytime they close down a huge city like that, it's the spectating and the race itself takes on a whole different atmosphere. For people that are watching it and the racers that are in it, I think it'll be a big improvement from last year.
The last day, there's no let-up on racing action. A grueling 4-circuit course could be the perfect scene for a dramatic finish.
It's one of the hardest last-day circuits that I've ever seen. You got the rock store climb, then it goes down, and then you got like 3 more little climbs, and then a pretty dangerous downhill into Westlake Village. Should be really exciting.
There's no better way to see a place than on a bike. During the Amgen Tour of California, the Peloton will cover over 800 miles of the Golden State's most scenic roads. Rolling out of historic Nevada City, riders quickly get up to maximum speed on a long descent into the capital city of Sacramento. Day 2 sends the Peloton west with a sizable chunk of climbing capped off with a sprint finish. It's a stage that spans 2 of America's best cycling cities, Davis to Santa Rosa. With the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, Stage 3 drops south from San Francisco along the rugged Pacific coast. The beautiful seaside town of Santa Cruz hosts the finish. Then 5 miles into Day 4, the Peloton slams into legendary Sierra Road. Over 120 miles in the saddle comes to a leg-quaking end in Modesto. Rolling south through the San Joaquin Valley and the Sierra Nevada foothills, the Peloton crushes a 2-lap circuit in Bakersfield before calling it a day in Stage 5. Then Palmdale to Big Bear Lake is the first installment of a brutal 3-stage sufferfest that ends the tour. 135 miles and 12,000 feet of climbing. High roads and low oxygen in the mountains are followed by a red line effort in Stage 7's downtown LA time trial. And then on the second Sunday, 84 miles of a lung-burning circuit course keeps the leader's jersey in play right up until the final sprint.
Big round of applause for the 3-beat man, Levi Leipheimer of Astana, Santa Rosa, California.
Coming up, we'll take a look inside this year's Peloton. Who's here and who's ready to win. And we'll break down the stages, sorting out the major features and breathtaking sights. That's right here on the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan.
Living in California, it's great. I can train every day there, and the roads are some of the best roads I've ever experienced in my life.
Well, California is great for cycling because of the weather and the climate's just fantastic. You have flat roads, you have rolling roads, you have mountain roads, and you have sunshine most of the year round.
Once you've traveled around and really experienced the entire state, it's amazing. It's a beautiful state.
California, find yourself here.
Winner, 2008 Tour of California winner, Levi Leipheimer of Astana.
From the moment that I heard there would be a Tour of California, I knew that it would become one of the biggest races in the world, and I made it my goal to win it.
The overall winner for the 3rd year in succession.
I'm proud to be the face of the Tour of California, definitely. I think about it all the time when I train. I visualize what's going to happen, what could happen. When I get to the race, I'm very focused, and that's really what it's all about.
The product of hard training comes easier when goals are pursued by a solid group. This year, Radio Shack borrowed key elements from 2009's Astana team to form an instant powerhouse.
We have a good group of guys who know how to work together and are just motivated and always ready to sacrifice for the common goal.
Lance Armstrong's done a great job of taking apart these attacks.
My condition was definitely not at the top or at the highest level it needed to be. It was hard supporting him. I suffered, plain and simple.
Lance was a great teammate. He was, he got better every day. Lance was there to really shut everyone down and bring it home.
Shutting down this year's field that bristles with 10 world champions will be no small order, but Radio Shack's leaders will have plenty of support. Lining up with Armstrong and Leipheimer will be fellow Americans Jason McCartney and Chris Horner. Astana refugees Yaroslav Popovic and climbing specialist Jose Luis Rubiera are scary weapons to have on a multi-day campaign. For 50 years, some of the best American cyclists have blistered over the circuit course of the Nevada City Classic. No stranger to big names and big events, the race's hometown launches the latest West Coast cycling tradition, the Amgen Tour of California. Stage 1 promises to be a high-speed affair as the course profile trends mostly downhill. From start to finish, the peloton will lose almost 3,000 vertical feet. It's not the first skill you think of in bike racing, but descending is critical. At speeds approaching 60 miles per hour, one bad moment can mean the end of a career.
Descending is dangerous. I don't know. You try not, definitely you don't want to think that it's dangerous when you're doing it.
In the approach to Auburn, riders will have the first bite at the sprinter's Herbalife green jersey. Men with explosive speed and a knack for finishing in the top 15 will have the best chance to earn this prestigious title. California's highest bridge isn't the Golden Gate. That honor goes to the Auburn Forest Hill Bridge. Over 70 stories above the North Fork of the American River, some riders will want to keep their eyes on the road. About 43 miles into their day, the peloton gets a taste of the serious climbing ahead. From the banks of the American River up to the town of Cool, riders will hotly contest the California Travel and Tourism Commission King of the Mountains jersey. Points are awarded to the first 3 riders over the summits of the tour. With their first day almost behind them, the cyclists aim their wheels to California's state capital in what promises to be a very warm welcome.
It's kind of nice actually coming in and finishing in the capital there around the capital city, and the fans are huge. All the way around the course, it's incredible, the volume of the fans, and it's really a big cycling community.
3 circuits within the city limits should give fans plenty to see. Sprinters a perfect shot at glory.
Tom Boner's taken the day.
In the shadow of the State Building, first day honors will be handed out, including the yellow jersey to the race leader. For the 128 riders, each stage provides a chance for recognition. In addition to the yellow, green, and King of the Mountains jerseys, all men under 25 years old compete for Rabobank's Best Young Rider. And still, there's one more daily honor.
I think the key word is unity. We are all fighting cancer. You might be fighting breast cancer, you might be fighting childhood cancers or leukemia. Anytime these groups come together and share their stories together and share their mission, I think the effect is tenfold.
In tribute to the humble strength of cancer patients, the Amgen Breakaway from Cancer Most Courageous jersey doesn't necessarily go to the fastest or best cyclist. It goes instead to the man who, like survivors everywhere, demonstrates courage, sacrifice, inspiration, determination, and perseverance. Last year's winners include some of the most respected names in the sport. It's known as the best cycling town in America. Coming up, we'll take a look at the Stage 2 start in Davis and get in the middle of the Garmin Transitions and HTC Columbia team rivalry. That's next on the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. Packed with bike lanes, signals, and scenic trails dedicated to cyclists, Davis has a well-deserved reputation as the most bike-friendly city in America, as as well as home to one of America's top research universities. Enjoying its second year as a stage start in the Amgen Tour of California, Davis's tree-lined, small-town feeling streets will send the international cycling herd off on Stage 2, a 109-mile stampede to Santa Rosa. 20 miles of flat land gives the riders a good chance to settle in before the hard work begins. With 4 climbs counting towards the California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains jersey, victory in Stage 2 calls for the legs of an Ironman. Achieving great heights deserves sweet reward. No stranger to world-class vineyards, the peloton will roll through Napa Valley on the Silverado Trail. Home to over 40 of the valley's 200 wineries, this section offers some of the most heady scenery on the course. A final push up the twin climbs of Oakville and Trinity grades, then a race downhill for 9 miles to the finish in Santa Rosa. Boasting some of the most passionate cycling crowds in America, Santa Rosa claims 3-time winner of the Amgen Tour of California, Levi Leipheimer, as one of its distinguished residents.
There's no one can touch Mark Cavendish with a win like that. That was incredible.
In the 2009 Tour de France, Team HTC Columbia blazed their way to 6 incredible stage wins. Though he was the first to cross the line, there was never any doubt that Mark Cavendish appreciated how he got there. Their Grand Tour performance was validation of HTC's avowed commitment to teamwork and clean racing.
I've really admired this team for its stance on anti-doping and its sports science, and it really seems to take a lot of young, raw talent and just nurture it, and people just blossom on this team.
Front and center among the young HTC Columbia riders are Tony Martin, who just missed out on the Tour de France's white jersey, and the mercurial Mark Cavendish.
There's the missile. There's nobody can match the speed of this amazing kid.
As volatile off the saddle as he is on, Cavendish is rarely at a loss for an opinion on other teams' tactics. His pointed critique of Garmin transitions sparked a controversy last July during Stage 14 of the Tour de France.
Mark has a personality that I don't exactly know how to describe it. He says a lot of things, and you see every once in a while that he has to retract some of them.
We want to be the best, they want to be the best, and we're pushing each other to new levels of excellence by having a tiny bit of a rivalry.
While Garmin may use some restraint in characterizing their feelings, Cavendish is predictably forthright.
I can't call it a rivalry no more, because a rivalry is when you got 2 top teams doing something, but they don't really achieve much when we're there, It's kind of like, they achieve stuff when we're not there, but they don't when we're there, They put all their eggs in to get team time trialists last year. Time trialists for team time. They didn't win a team time trial. Now they got a sprint team, It's not because they were getting better, it's just because we weren't there.
The smack talk may fly between them, but these teams share at least one thing in common. They're American-owned, and this race is a high priority.
For sure, I'm going for California again. It's always been a race I've really been excited about. So I'm excited again.
Riding with Zabriskie, Team Garmin has 5 other Americans on their 8-man roster. Aussie Matthew Wilson and Canadian rider Heshdal round out the group. Mark Cavendish will challenge for the sprint stages, but HTC Columbia will most likely ride in support of Michael Rogers or Tony Martin in the general classification. Despite their American ownership, they'll bring a largely international contingent to California. If there's one ride everyone should take in their lives, it's a spin down the Pacific coast on Highway 1. Stage 3 starts in one of this country's signature cities, the unforgettable San Francisco. 49 square miles of multicultural good taste and charm. Losing your heart here has never been difficult. Out on the road, the riders glide south. Redwood forests on their left and 5,000 miles of Pacific Ocean on their right. 4 moderate climbs, including Bonnie Doon Road, where Leipheimer's attack in 2009 put him in yellow, test the legs, and will likely thin the field. After surging along Monterey Bay, the fast men will move to the front and take a chance at top speed on the famous Santa Cruz Boardwalk. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the hard-charging sprinters and follow the course from San Jose to Bakersfield. It's the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan. The numbers defy logic. 5 hours in the saddle, 5,000 calories burned, 128 men crammed into a city street. On 2 wheels, the width of a thumb, sprinters can close out a stage at 50 miles an hour. Stand just once by the side of the road at a finish line, and you'll have lifelong respect for the color green.
The last 10K we're coming in, and normally we're catching a break at that time. You know, you can see the break in the distance.
Cavendish is now in a perfect position, but it is still 350 metres from the line.
And the guys are together. We've lost probably 1 or 2 guys who've been riding all day. And I'm shouting to the guys, stay together, stay together. If we let one gap go and somebody gets in, that's the whole train gone. We look so strong together. We look so strong. We look like, you know, dominant as a group.
He is a very, very strong rider. He led out so far down the track, I didn't think it was possible.
We hit 3 to go and got Michael Rogers take over. Michael Rogers goes, he's a world time trial champion. He goes full gas 1,500 metres, peels off, and Tony goes 1,500 metres to go till 1 kilometre to go, 900 to go, you know. And you know there's a fight going on behind me, but it's not for me to worry about. Normally it's between 200 and 250 metres to go. Boom, I don't have to wait.
If Cavendish gets the lead, nobody ever passes him.
Probably kick from about 63k an hour to 68 kilometres an hour in less than a second. Boom, the first 3 pedal revs, and I know I've got to jump on my rivals.
Mark Cavendish crosses the line.
I don't have to win by half a bike length, and normally that's what I do. And so it's not going full gas, it's about saving as much energy, but just winning the stage.
There's no one can touch Mark Cavendish with a win like that.
The Herbalife green jersey will be awarded daily to the rider with the highest sprint points total in the overall race. Joining Cavendish in the quest for green is Belgian speed merchant Tom Bonin, Liquigas' Francesco Kiki, and Cervelo Test sends Teo Boss, who already has 4 wins this year. Founded a year after the Declaration of Independence, San Jose is California's oldest city. Woven together with its strong heritage is a tradition of innovation. This is the heart of Silicon Valley, and it's the start of Stage 4. Just 5 miles into their day, riders will face the most significant climb to this point, Sierra Road.
You know, that's the sort of climb that nowadays, especially in February, you have to be super fit to make a difference on. It's not a very long climb, it is a steep climb. I think in May, it's going to be a little bit different because you'll have a lot of guys at a better level.
Reaching over 6 football fields into the sky, Sierra Road packs a major gain in altitude in just a few short miles. With 3 days of hard racing in their legs, it could provide a decisive moment for the peloton. The snaking course of the Calaveras Road leads the riders through Livermore before turning on Des Moines Road. The next 30 miles simply don't quit. Narrow roads and a relentless grade will offer up a challenge every bit as serious as you'll find in the Pyrenees. Survivors hold on for a long descent into Patterson before sorting themselves out in the final 20 flat miles. This will be a day for the sprinters. See who has the legs. And there are few better places to wrap up a calorie-burning day on the bike than Modesto, a hub for the Golden State's almond, walnut, beef, chicken, and milk production. Modesto is an ideal fueling station on the road to the yellow jersey. One of the top contending teams in the Grand Tours this year will be Italy's Liquigas Doimo. Early this season, the men in green, white, and blue have already made lots of noise with the most explosive young rider in cycling. While most guys his age are still trying to figure out class schedules and dating etiquette, Peter Sagan has been lighting up the roads. First Paris-Nice with 2 incredible stage wins, and then both a second-place finish and another stage win at the Tour of Romandy. Sagan's strength and aggressiveness is hard to fathom, but at 20 years old, he's beaten the likes of Alejandro Valverde and Alberto Contador to the line. Riding their American Cannondale bikes, Sagan and Liquigas will have extra motivation to win on their sponsor's home turf, whether it's a stage or maybe even the overall. Liquigas sends a largely Italian group to the start line in Nevada City. Keep an eye out for Francesco Kiki in the sprint stages. He's got a big engine that fires up fast. Twice now, Visalia has provided the setting for an Amgen Tour of California stage start. In the middle of the San Joaquin Valley, the host city is a riding mecca. With the Sierra Nevadas in the distance and the Sequoia National Forest offering thousands of years of old growth and countless miles of breathtaking rides, wherever you point your wheel, you'll be happy. The landscape goes from mountains to oil derricks. Fifth largest in the U.S., the Kern River oil field will tap Peloton reserves. Exposed to the wind, this section features several sharp climbs. Into Bakersfield, the suffering continues. 2 circuits up China Grade finish with an uphill sprint to the end of the 5th day. Coming up, Big Bear Lake offers the first mountaintop finish in the Amgen Tour of California. An American, Team BMC, gets ready to make a major break in the international ranks. Later, we'll check out Team Saxo Bank and how the leaderboard should shape up. There's no bigger show in cycling than the Tour de France. When the bulk of the cast that competes in July shows up for an event in May, you know it's important. Over the past 5 years, the Amgen Tour of California has grown from a good idea to a world-class event. A winning combination of setting and support, it's a hot stop on the Pro Tour.
I think California holds a big spot in people's minds. The racing is something that I think has really evolved in the United States. I think guys look forward to coming to the U.S. They're treated with respect. The hotels are nice, the food is good, the fans are friendly. The stages are appropriate and hard, and I think the guys think highly of it.
Well, California is great for cycling because of the weather and the climate's just fantastic, but you have from the beach to the mountains, so you have flat roads, you have rolling roads, you have mountain roads, and you have sunshine. At least if you're in SoCal, you got sunshine most of the year around, so it's a fantastic place to live and train, and certainly the place to hold bike races.
Yeah, I'm really excited to come to the Tour of California because I heard it's a little bit compared to the Tour de France in USA. There should also be many crowds and many fans. So, yeah, I think it will be really fun to be there.
Last year on Palomar, the fans, I personally thought they were great. To come out there and show up in those kind of numbers was awesome.
Yeah, there's sort of probably only 2 races outside of Europe that are doing it properly now. There's a Tour Down Under in Australia and a Tour of California. And it's good to see that it's not just Europe now. You can go and race in other places and get massive crowds.
Perhaps no better evidence of the Amgen Tour of California's international significance can be discovered in 2 teams with no Americans on their start list, Rabobank and Quick-Step. There are over 10.5 million Belgians, and it's not much of a stretch to say that at least 90% of them are Tom Boonen fans. The tiny cycling mad country sends its revered Quick-Step team to the Golden State. After tough defeats in the Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix, Boonen and his mates could be quite happy taking home the Herbalife Sprint jersey. The Dutch team Rabobank returns to the Amgen Tour of California with former cyclocross world champion Lars Boom at their front. This year at Paris-Nice, the 6'3" Boom took the opening time trial. In California, he'll look for another stage win to raise his stature on the roads. Legitimacy is hard-won in cycling. Before victory can be gained, new teams must first build a solid foundation. Picking out the right rider to carry a program's load is essential.
George was a key signing to this organization. Without it, I don't know if we would have been able to go to the next step, which was to offer the opportunity to the European riders that we were interested in to also join the organization without already having a commitment from somebody like George.
The team is going to be relying on me for a lot of races. At the same time, we have a great bunch of guys that can win races on their own. I mean, Cadel Evans, world champion, Alessandro Ballan, Berghardt, Karsten Kroon. We have guys that won World Cups like Tour of Flanders, World Championships. So we have a very, very strong team.
Hincapie's move to Team BMC will likely be the last chapter in his storied racing career. It's a chance for him to continue winning and build his growing business.
Obviously, we're using my clothing it's a great way to showcase our brand internationally, and we hope that that's going to really help the company grow.
Seemingly unfazed by the years on his legs, Hincapie is still a daily podium threat. BMC teammates Marcus Berghardt, Chad Beyer, and Chris Butler ensure that this American team will always be near the front. Stage 6 has people talking. This will be the first mountaintop finish in the Amgen Tour of California's history, and it could change everything.
And having a summit finish at California really makes it a whole different ballgame. I think Levi's maybe going to be a bit nervous with because he can't just rely on his time trial anymore.
Leipheimer's 4th consecutive win might be made more difficult by the stage, but it's not like the guy can't climb.
This is amazing. Well, Levi's taking this race on for himself here and inviting everybody else to come and follow him. Levi Leipheimer has made a move.
Boeing, NASA, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman are just a few of the aeronautic entities that make their home in Palmdale. It seems a fitting place for launching Stage 6's historic ascent. Not one, but 2 mountain ranges factor into this stage. First up are the San Gabriels. 7 California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountain summits begin at Mill Creek. Onto the Angeles Crest Highway. The peloton scratches its way to a high point of 8,000 feet before plummeting into Wrightwood. Lake Arrowhead and Crestline call for smaller gears as the road tilts up in the San Bernardino Mountains. A spin around the northern rim of Big Bear Lake, and whoever's left is climbing once again. The final stretch to the Snow Summit ski area is, of course, uphill.
You know, it could be a factor there is the heat. A day that's that long with that much climbing in a month like May, California certainly is no stranger to heat waves. And if you time it right there and you have a really hot day, then people will be truly a stage of attrition.
At the end of Stage 6, computers will show 135 miles raced, 12,000 feet climbed, and possibly 7 hours spent in the effort. A good night's rest will be well-deserved. LA shuts down its streets and opens its arms as the test of truth blazes into downtown. The best man in the time trial just may ride for the best team in cycling. We'll get on the wheel of Team Saxo Bank and Fabian Cancellara when the Amgen Tour of California preview show presented by Nissan continues. It's like no other sport. When cycling comes to town, everyone with a little time to invest can get themselves a front row seat. Becoming a fan is inexpensive and easy. Becoming a pro rider is about 10 million times harder. To fans of the Tour de France, many of the faces and teams at the Amgen Tour of California will be familiar, but they won't be the only riders to watch. A solid group of continental pros who compete mainly in the U.S. will be the Cinderellas of the race. A stage win or a podium finish can make a domestic rider's career and define a successful season for an entire team. United Healthcare's Rory Sutherland was Velo News' 2009 Roadie of the Year. He teams up with Carl Menzies, Andrew Pinfold, and Max Jenkins. Making their debut in California is a young Canadian outfit, Team Spider Tech, powered by Planet Energy. In last year's final stage in the Tour of Missouri, Spider Tech's Martin Gilbert nipped Francesco Kiki for the win. He might just do it again this May. First place wins at home made for a solid 2009 for Team Fly Via Australia. This year they have wins at San Dimas and Redlands and a strong showing at the Gila. A sweet relationship between cycling and the Jelly Belly Candy Company serves up the oldest American continental team on the roads. Joining Team Jelly Belly is former Garmin rider Mike Friedman, fresh off a GC win in the Tour of Korea. Ben Jacques Maines. He leads Team Bissell. Last year in Stage 2, Jacques Maines pulled on the most courageous jersey. Riding with him will be identical twin brother Andy, who crashed out in 2009. From Uruguay to Thailand this past season, Team Kelly Benefit Strategies delivered prime results in exotic locales. In 2010, they've stopped in tours of Korea and Langkawi before making their way to Nevada City. And Team Type 1 Diabetes rides with a mission beyond the pursuit of yellow jerseys. They're on the road to show that the disease can't slow them down. California residents Chris Jones and Ken Hansen will partner with veteran Valery Kovarenko to promote the cause and rise up in the standings. One team that needs little in the way of introduction is Saxo Bank.
He cannot believe that he's adding the Tour of Flanders to Paris-Roubaix in just 7 days of racing.
It's a huge victory for Fabian Cancellara.
Fabian Cancellara may just be the best one-day rider of his generation. World champion in the time trial, he won it last year by over a minute. In April, Cancellara demolished his competition in 2 epic wins at Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. And he has talent for stage races. Last year, he conquered the Tour of Switzerland. Few veterans are as durable as the German diesel Jens Vogt. Even a horrific crash at the Tour de France could not shake this 38-year-old icon from his place in the peloton. And for all the talk last year of the Armstrong-Contador battle, it was Luxembourger Andy Schleck that climbed into second place at the Tour de France.
I only look after me. I need to be. I have enough to do, and I want to be 100% in the tour. So I don't look what the other do. I do my thing and know what I have to do to be good. And if that's not enough, then I'm not good enough.
Schleck may focus more on preparation for July than victory in May, but there are plenty of Saxo riders primed to make some noise on the streets of California.
Maybe when I have to help the Schleck brothers in the tour, then California would be a place for me to try and do something.
All told, there will be 6 other UCI Pro Tour teams competing with Saxo Bank. 2 teams fall under the professional Continental heading, and 7 Continental teams round out the peloton. In the past, the time trial at Solvang has given life to Levi Leipheimer's 3 Amgen Tour of California victories. This year, the TT moves to LA.
Tour of California, have a time trial in LA. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, LA is so huge, it's so big. So many people and cycling getting bigger and bigger in the States, but even more in California. And I think that's really first time since I'm doing Tour of California that we have actually a time trial or like at the stage in a city like that.
Stage 7 is 2 laps of a 10.5-mile course that runs by a tourist wish list of attractions. The Convention Center, the USC campus, Exposition Park, and the LA Coliseum. And that's just on the way out. The second half of the loop passes by the Millennium Biltmore Hotel, Walt Disney Concert Hall, and Los Angeles City Hall. Riders will stop the suffering and the clock on this aerobic nightmare at LA Live. The compact route gives spectators a Hollywood-quality view.
When I first heard that the time trial was going to be in LA, I mean, I got excited. LA is such a car culture place, and it's a gigantic city. For them to shut down streets in downtown LA is comparable to shutting down Paris the last day of the tour.
Fans, if you think you can pick the daily stage winners for the Tour of California, then Road ID has a challenge for you. Starting the day before the race, head on over to roadid.com and place your picks for a chance to win $1,000 daily or a grand prize trip for 2 to the 2010 Tour de France. Powering over the 15-mile course, Levi Leipheimer took the 2009 Solvang time trial for the 3rd year in a row. The win solidified his hold on the yellow jersey and was the electric performance of the day. Brought to you by the 100% electric Nissan Leaf.
Well, I mean, it's his home race. It's a little bit his mini Tour de France. In the past 3 years, he's been very, very prepared. Like, he showed up at the training camp, super fit, knowing all the stages, knowing and trying to predict what was happening in all the stages already in January. And this year he's going to try to do the same, but now it's a bit different. It's in May, so it starts the season off a little slower. and really build up towards California. But it's a hard race. It's a hard race to win, and it's a hard race as a team to try to win, because it really becomes a big war between the American teams, and now there's even more American teams around. So it really feels like the fight trying to win the Tour of California. But for Levi, winning it 3 times in a row, that's amazing, the way he can really charge himself up and be ready for that race. So hopefully 2010 we can do it again.
Pouring out of Nevada City, the cycling rush of the Amgen Tour of California will flow from north to south. A spectacular vision of world-class competition and epic landscapes. The 800-mile pilgrimage concludes without mercy. On the heels of Stage 6's 12,000 feet of climbing and an all-out effort in the time trial, Stage 8 hits the peloton with 84 miles of tongue-dragging action. Discovering a winner in the overall will likely come down to this last day. Stage 8 calls for 4 laps of a 21-mile circuit, beginning in Amgen's hometown of beautiful Thousand Oaks. The early rolling miles soon give way to the scenic but challenging Mulholland Highway. With over 7,000 feet of climbing on the day, riders will dip into the red zone early and stay there.
If the heat does what it could do, that starts to add up at the end of a week. And at a stage like that, tactics can be an issue, but I've heard it's quite steep, and 4 times is enough to absolutely destroy a peloton.
Final stage of the Tour of California is going to be pretty epic. 4 times up the Rock Store climb, which is basically exactly like my hometown climb, Paris Mountain, which is the same course that we did at Nationals 4 times up. But I think it's going to be very tough for it to be the last stage of the Tour of California. I think there'll be lots of bodies hanging off the back of the peloton there.
While some will battle merely to survive, the last stage of the Amgen Tour of California should have plenty left on the table worth fighting for. In addition to the overall classification, there'll be points to be had for the Herbalife Sprint jersey and the California Travel and Tourism King of the Mountains title. And of course, there will be the glory of a last day stage win. But after 800 miles, the big question will be which rider finishes the Tour in yellow. The Golden State grew up on the promise of riches, and these riders have the best chance to pan out in the general classification. With 3 consecutive titles in hand and Lance Armstrong by his side, Levi Leipheimer seems the prohibitive favorite. Earlier this month, he showed good form winning the Gila. But much has changed in this year's Amgen Tour of California. The later start means riders will come in far better race shape than in the past. And with the growing prestige of the race, men like 2-time runner-up David Zabriskie will give greater focus to their effort. His win at last year's Tour of Missouri showed he has the talent for multi-day racing. Andy Schleck could take a hard dig at the GC, but with his time trialing ability and overall strength, Fabian Cancellara just may be Saxo Bank's best shot to win, just like in last year's 8-stage Tour of Switzerland. Cervelo Test Team is without their God of Thunder, Thor Hushovd. Leading the team is Heinrich Hausler. Just back from injury, this Tour de France stage winner is a strong man in the classics with a legitimate chance for victory on any given day. Second place, and almost, isn't good enough for Quick-Step's Tom Bonin. Despite having great form this spring at the Tour of Flanders, he was dropped by Cancellara and failed to defend his title in Paris-Roubaix. He needs a win, and he'll look for it early in the Tour. Peter Sagan is having the kind of spring most kids dream about. Though at 20 years old, Sagan's not dreaming. He's just winning. 3 stages in 2 tours in 3 months. The early word is he's not a strong climber, but everything about this guy is surprising. He could win a stage. He could win the Tour. And for Team HTC Columbia, Mark Cavendish will race for green, while workhorse Michael Rogers and the youthful Tony Martin look for yellow. It's a quality field. Leipheimer's had the winning formula for the past 3 years. Now, a host of new variables threaten the Californian's reign. In Nevada City, 128 of the best riders in the world line up to get down to the business of winning the Amgen Tour of California. Over 8 stages that soar through the mountains, rip along the coast, and burn up the streets of LA, this race will need every inch to discover its winner. The 800-mile course is new. The competition is hot. The greatest cycling event in the United States is on. It's the Amgen Tour of California. Catch all of our live daily coverage in HD beginning next Sunday, May 16th at 5 p.m. right here on Versus.